listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome into the GM Shuffle. The GM Shuffle is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I am Geoff Schwartz, 8 years in the National Football League alongside Marty Hurney, 30 years in our front offices. And Marty, we have quite the week ahead of us right now. It's Thanksgiving week. Happy holiday week. We're going to have a show today like usual, and we're going to have a show Wednesday to preview the games. And we have Thursday, and we have a game Friday, we have games Saturday, and we have games Monday. We have football all week. We have a lot of news and notes to get through. We'll kind of go through our game recaps throughout the show today. And we'll give you best bets to end the show. My best bet has been donating money to DraftKings each and every week. Marty, hopefully that changes in the near future.
Right,
but first, we have to get to some NFL news, some coach firings that happened overnight and early into this morning. I think the big one here is Chip Kelly's out as Raiders offensive coordinator. The Raiders offense is just anemic. The last 5 games, 0 points. They did score against Jacksonville, and they went, 7 points, 16 points, 13 points, 10 points maybe. It has been an offense that has no offensive line, that really doesn't have any weapons. Bauer's been hurt but back, but they can't really get him the ball. Geno hasn't been good, and Chip Kelly left a national championship program in Ohio State where he was the offensive coordinator to come back in the NFL, Marty. It just hasn't worked for Chip. He had that early start with Philly that was good the first couple of years. And since then, the NFL, it's been all downhill. What do you make of the Raiders firing Chip Kelly?
People always want a face to blame, so Chip Kelly's the face to blame for the Raiders offense, but there's so many faces, Geoff. And did he really have a chance? My biggest concern with the Raiders right now is Pete Carroll too loyal to Geno Smith? I think we both have the same opinion. I don't think you can win with Geno Smith. Maybe he would be a decent backup next year if you bring in a young quarterback, but they have nowhere to go right now. Quarterback, they're kind of in a desert right now, and I just think that a lot of those sacks, Geno Smith holds onto the ball too long. Listen, somebody's got to take the fall, and Chip Kelly did, but there's a lot more problems to his offense than Chip Kelly. You mentioned the offensive line, and I think they have quarterback issues.
The number one issue, Marty, in my opinion, with the offense was they chose to draft the running back over the offensive lineman. And that's a huge problem for them. Look, I'll repeat this many, many times. I think it's absolutely true. You cannot add the running back into the offense until the other pieces are there. And you might say to yourself, well, Genty's so transformational. He's such a special player that we'll get him now and fix the offensive line later. They're multiple years away from fixing the offensive line. I know Raiders fans just say, well, just go find guys in free agency. Look at the free agent signings. The best offensive linemen most often stay home. Teams know that. They value them. Guys will take a little bit less money for that guaranteed money up front and to stay where they're at for offensive line, man. You rarely find offensive linemen that are game-changing for you via free agency. Now, you might find better pieces. Absolutely, Marty. That's totally fair to say. But they drafted the running back before the offensive line. They can't block anybody. They just can't block anybody. So that doesn't help Geno, who's immobile, right? Doesn't help Genty, who can't get going at all. Doesn't help anything else on the offense. So yeah, it's a Chip's fault. No, they went in the wrong direction in the draft, and that's going to hurt them, I think, for many years to come. They're not going to be able to use Genty for what? I mean, it's the Saquon Barkley problem, right? Where the Giants had a bad offensive line and good running back. It's just not going to work. Saquon goes to Philly, good offensive line takes off. Christian McCaffrey goes to San Francisco, good offensive line takes off. So to me, and to your point that you're making, it's a wholesale issue with the offense, and Chip gets the blame for that. I wouldn't be surprised if Chip was a senior analyst for a college football team in the next couple of weeks. Maybe one in Eugene, maybe goes back to Columbus. I mean, there's plenty of options for him, but it feels like his role, Marty, was going to be that senior analyst, right? Like just going to be a guy that doesn't have a headset on Saturdays, helps out young coaches. He's still a very good run game coordinator. I don't know how good he is in the pass game, but he's seen a lot of football. He's won a lot of football games. I'd imagine that role will suit him pretty well. Marty, another firing. The Giants fired Shane Bowen, their defensive coordinator. It feels like every week they just throw one more chair off the side of the Titanic. And this week it is Shane Bowen. Their defense actually wasn't terrible against the Lions. The Lions right here, this includes overtime, right? Nearly 500 yards, but that included that 70-yard touchdown run by Gibbs there. It was a defense that forced punts, multiple punts, 3, 4, 5, 6 punts against the Lions. I know there's some consternation about the final play where Dexter Lawrence wasn't on the field for the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown run. Good job by Gibbs. I mean, he's an incredible runner, Marty. But Shane Bone is out. This doesn't really register to me as anything rather important. That whole staff is going to be fired.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a real big picture thing right now with the Giants. And, we had mentioned when we talked about the Titans opening 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had mentioned Mike Kafka as a guy that, at that point, Brian Dable was the head coach. And if he was bringing Jackson Dart along, maybe he would be a candidate. But this is, I think, one of those instances where being named the interim coach probably hurts him as far as being a coach down the line. His best chance would be with the Giants just because of the continuity with Jackson Dart. But again, in that game, Geoff, I got to go to it, right? They're up by 3 minutes left. They're facing a 4th and 6. Okay. They throw the ball, incomplete pass. Lions take it down, kick a 59-yard field goal to put the game into overtime. Malik Neighbors, which will be another issue here, Malik Neighbors tweets out criticizing the play. Why would you pass it? Why wouldn't you run and make them take the timeouts? Why wouldn't you kick the field goal? It was one of those tweets that was apparently up just long enough for people to screenshot it, and he took it down. I do not like a player on injury reserve making negative comments like that. I think if I was Joe Shane and Mike Kafka, I would have him in the office today. But still, we talk about this analytics thing all the time. But Geoff, kick the field goal, make them drive down and score a touchdown to beat you. I just don't understand that.
Okay, so the Malik Neighbors tweet, or might have been Instagram, or one of the two. But here's what he said. Sometimes I think they be making us lose on purpose, because it's no way, bro, you throw the ball instead of running it to make them burn 2 timeouts. They didn't kick the field goal. They have to go down and score. Football common sense. Am I missing something? That's the tweet he had up for like 9 minutes and let it go. So the end of that game, by the way, it's 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. They go 2-yard run. Detroit calls the first timeout. They go incomplete pass. Obviously, clock stops. Then a -4-yard run to go back to the 6-yard line. Detroit used their second timeout. So now they have 1 left. Then they go for a 4th down. Now, look, I try to find the numbers. I don't have them. I'm sure that you can find them. But, this is the discussion that we have on this show, and really you have in your building, right, is analytics versus feel of the game, right? If you're up 3 and you kick a field goal to go up 6, the numbers would tell you that's a losing play. A touchdown wins you the game. The game is probably over if they score a touchdown. They're up 10 versus up 6, and the Lions are moving the ball and can score a touchdown and win the game by obviously that single point. In this instance, the Giants defense, again, had played pretty well up until this point. In the second half, the Lions went punt, interception, touchdown, punt. So their offense had not scored a lot of points in the second half. You can make the case that you burn all their timeouts. You kick a field goal, you go up 6, you force them to go the length of the field with no timeouts and score a touchdown. Instead, they went and kicked a long field goal. Look, part of the problem is, Marty, I think that field kicking is too easy now. I mean, it just is. I mean, look, credit these guys for making these kicks, but I mean, a 60-yard field goal being good is something that happens very frequently now. And so I think you have to factor that into the equation when it comes to the decision to go for it or not here, right? Like the Lions only needed now, 20, 15, maybe less yards than they had in previous years.
Geoff, let me ask you this. What's the percentage of scoring a touchdown on 4th and goal from the 6-yard line?
I don't have the information in front of me.
We all want to talk about analytics and the percentage of, if you make it, your chance to win a game. Well, of course, if you score 60 points, your chances of winning the game are better than if you scored 20. But what are the percentages of making it on 4th and goal from the 6-yard line? It infuriates me.
So the process, the way that I think I know how it works, and I've sort of been told by this is more on the college side, but I know it works the same way in the NFL, is obviously there's a model built, right? And then throughout the game, there's someone upstairs. In college football, that actually person tends to be like right next to the coach. If you ever watch college football, you see there's a guy walking next to the head coach carrying a folder. That's the guy. Yeah, big book. In the NFL, that guy's typically upstairs, right? And so they have all the models and whatnot, and they let the coach know a couple plays beforehand, hey, here's a situation, here's the percentage, and then here's what we think we should do in the situation. Now, of course, the coach in the end has a right to do what he wants. Marty, can I make the case in the situation that the Giants are going nowhere? They had played good football, I think, relative to what they thought they could play in this game. Let's just try to win the game. In the end, we're 2-8 or 3-7, but let's end the game with a win. Is that something that can be considered in this moment?
No, you're playing not to lose the game at that point because you don't have confidence in your defense to stop them from scoring a touchdown. So what you're doing is you're actually playing not to lose. Okay, hey, we probably can't stop them to get the ball back, so we're going to have to score a touchdown here on 4th and goal from the 6, which is extremely hard to do. And I think it shows that you're trying not to lose the game instead of trying to win the game. Look at Andy Reid. We'll talk about Kansas City later. But confident coaches with confident teams take the field goal there and say, we're not going to let them score a touchdown. We're not going to let them drive the field and score a touchdown on us. I just think that that's a case where losing teams, it's a lack of confidence that draws you that. Plus the analytics. And my problem with the guy with the book in college, anybody know his name? Name me one guy that carries the book. What's his name?
Well, I know the Oregon guy. He's important, but yes. And yeah, I was watching,
right?
Yeah. I was watching a Central Michigan game the other day and they were talking about the guy on walking right next to the head coach. And he was marching with, he walked in and said they walk 11 miles during the game. He just walks back and forth with the coach. Well, in the end, of course, look, Kafka has the answer for this, right? So does any coach who has to, he's got to talk to the GM today. And maybe this costs him opportunity to have that job long-term, or maybe it costs him opportunity for future jobs more. That's the risk of going forward in this situation. You mentioned Kansas City. They did beat the Colts. I'm still skeptical, Marty. We'll talk about Kansas City and Indianapolis next. We'll talk about the Cowboys coming back from 21 points to beat the Eagles and what's going on in Philly on the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
We're back on the GM Shuffle. Marty continues to rail during the breaks of analytics. I love it so much. We just, we do like a live web stream of Marty just
keep it fair. Just make keep it fair on both sides. That's all. Just keep the record fair.
The Chiefs beat the Colts in overtime, 23-20, get their first win of the year by less than a score, 1-5 in one-score games. Kansas City now 6-5. The Colts 8-3 now. Look, the Chiefs had 33 first downs. The Colts had 10. The Chiefs had 494 yards on 91 plays. They both average about 5 and change in yards per play. The Chiefs rushed the ball for 148 on 41 rush attempts, which was great to see. They actually committed to doing that. They did have 2 turnovers. They lost turnover battle and still won the game. Marty, very impressively, their defense, I think, did a really, really good job here. The Colts had on the last 4 possessions, the Colts had the ball, the chance to seal the game, all right, and win the game. They want to run for -2, incomplete pass, punt. Next drive, incomplete pass, 7-yard completion, incomplete pass, punt. You get the gist of it. 4 straight punts, 0 first downs there for the Colts, who again had every chance to win this game. Marty, look, you said the Chiefs would win. I wasn't quite sure. They didn't cover though. I still think it's as sloppy as can be, man. 3 holdings on special teams again this week. Still can't really rush the passer, but Chris Jones came alive when it mattered most. They stopped the Colts when it mattered most. That's a heart of a champion type performance, Marty. But man, it is still very up and down. I don't know what to believe, Marty. What's your thoughts on the Chiefs here? I'm not quite sure I totally buy it quite yet. That's when they had to have, and they got it.
They won a close game against a good team. Okay, and the Colts, to me, proved that they were a good team, even going in and losing that game. But they did exactly what we said they were going to do, right, Geoff? They took Jonathan Taylor, limited to 58 yards rushing, I think it was. They put the ball in Daniel Jones's hands, and Daniel Jones couldn't beat him. And the Chiefs, now I got -3 at the beginning of the week, so I pushed. But the Chiefs had, 4th and goal from the 2 with very late in the game. And, if they score, they cover. My luck is I get the one smart head coach in the league that isn't bullied by the analytics guys. He kicks the field goal, puts game in overtime. They win the game in overtime by field goal. So I just think that what you saw here is what makes the Chiefs so tough. And I always say, you have to knock the champion out. Nobody's knocked them out yet. And they won a very close game against a very good team. And I just think that they have a script. They have both sides of the ball. We figured that they were going to put the ball in Daniel Jones's hand, and they did. He wasn't good enough to beat him. And the Chiefs came up with the plays at critical times. They never panic. They're always calm. And I just think they're going to be a very tough out.
Well, they're going to be tough out because there is no panic at all, right? I thought, Mahomes sort of figured it out a little bit. They really struggle against man coverage early parts of that game, despite what the broadcast was just continually saying, and that's not really how the game played out. There just weren't guys open. And then finally, guys were open, and they made. I thought Lou Anarumo did a really good job up until the end of the game. Look, Lou, for some reason, the D coordinator for the Colts, by the way, he's always had Mahomes' number. He was at the Bengals. They just always had trouble, Marty. And what it was, they just dropped A into coverage all the time. And the Chiefs refused to run the football. And it feels like, Marty, we bullied the internet. I'm part of the internet, bullied the Chiefs in running the football. And it worked. It worked. They look, they don't have explosive running backs. I get it. Kareem Hunt, longest carry was 18 yards. Fantastic. Mahomes had 13-yard carry. You see, Clyde Edwards had 4-yard carry. Smith had a 5-yard carry. It's not always going to be explosive, but the threat of running the football and being physical up front, permeates itself throughout the team. We talked about this last week, and their commitment to actually doing it in this game. Kind of 30 carries. Now, they did have overtime. I get it, but Marty, that changes what the team can be. I hope Andy Reid sticks with the run, under center, pound the football, help out the passing game, help out the defense, instill the physical nature of this team. And if they do that, that's the path forward, Marty, to being successful.
I would have faith in Andy Reid if I were you, Geoff. Listen, one of my many flaws is I tend to kick a dead horse, okay? But if he would have gone for it on 4th and 2 and not...
No, he can't do that. He can't do that.
Whoa. Most teams would. Most teams would have. And if they didn't make it, he would have lost the game. That was when they tried to...
In that situation, you think 4th and 2, needing a field goal to tie the game with, 4 seconds left? Teams would have gone for the winner. I think teams would have kicked the field goal in that situation.
I think there are several teams that do that. That's what the analytics would have told you to go for it.
I'm actually that actually I probably can find what decision would have been there. The best decision.
I've had enough meetings, and I'm betting.
I'll find the there's a bot a guy has that does this. Nonetheless,
in the break, I just think that. Andy Reid did the right thing, and they just know how to win close games, Geoff. And they are just all on the same page. We talked about that relationship between the quarterback and the head coach. There's none stronger than Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and I think that's just they're just such a tough team to beat.
They are, and so we'll see. Obviously. How that plays out. They have the Cowboys this week. And speaking about the Cowboys, down 21-0, Marty, early in the game against Philly, man. And they just kept battling. They just kept fighting and scrapping and clawing. They win 24-21. We don't have the capability to show you guys video, but I would recommend going to the internet. It's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you find it, and go watch a play that was made by a special teams player on the Cowboys who was shoved, pushed, blocked. He fights, he battles, he works through it. Number 38, Elijah Clark, an undrafted free agent, and he battled Marty all the way down the field, forced a fumble. The Cowboys turned into points there that really helped them, get back in this game and win this game. It's a clip worth showing your kids. It's a clip worth showing if you're a coach at any level, baseball, softball, basketball, football. Go find this video. The NFL's put it out there. Incredible effort. But that's what the Cowboys did. They kept battling. They kept playing. Dak Prescott was really fabulous there the last 3 quarters, Marty. What a great win for the Cowboys.
It was, and it really tailed 2 halves, right? Cowboys tried to lose the game in the first half with penalties and turnovers. Eagles turned it over twice in the second half, and the Cowboys' offense is just too good not to. You have to take advantage of all your opportunities to score points when you play them, because they're going to score points. And everybody's going to say, what's wrong with the Eagles? Nothing's wrong with the Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys are a very hot team, and I think I like them in this game just because I do think that the Quinnen Williams trade, the deadline trades, really helped their defense. They're playing with more confidence defensively. This is a confident team. It's just going to be a really interesting game this week with the Cowboys. And I just think that they're definitely an arrow-up team. I don't know where they've dug too deep a hole to get back into this thing, but I like the way they're playing right now. Their defense is stable, and their offense can score against anybody.
Marty, I found it for you. 4th down from the 7. The best opportunity for the Chiefs to win was kick a field goal. And they did it. They did it by 12%. They followed the analytics, Marty. At least this is what one bot says.
You went to the revised analytics book, right? There's probably 7 for each scenario.
Probably, but the Chiefs did a good job there. I just wanted to. I think that's right. Don't call me there. Look, Philly, man. Marty, look, they're 8-3. They're making the playoffs. They're winning the division. Like, they're going to do those things. But Barkley had 22 rush yards yesterday. This team just, when Barkley, I know Hurts played well, 289, but when they don't run the football, it's just, the offense just really stalls out. And I get they scored 21 points, but it was all early. They scored the first 3 touchdowns of the game, and then punt and punt and punt and punt and miss field goal and fumble. And then obviously they fumbled a punt. Dallas actually didn't score on that. I'm wrong on that. And they punted at the end before Dallas kicked the field goal, Marty. It's not as clean on offense. And this goes back to the idea that we talk about with like Hurts, where if it's not perfect, is he giving you that extra oomph to like win the game and get, I just don't know if that's what he is at times. And I think it does hurt them in these moments. Not all the time. They need something extra from him. And again, his stat line was good, but they couldn't score points the last 3.5 quarters.
Do you ever look at in-game adjustments? I mean, when you're having a tale of 2 halves like the Eagles have had several times this year, do you look at the defensive adjustments, the offensive adjustments that are made at halftime and as the game goes by? Because I think that's a big factor in games that maybe a lot of fans don't see. But I think that's coaching, and when teams go like that from one half to the next, 21 points to nothing. I got to believe that there were some adjustments made on the Cowboys side and maybe not a counter move on the Eagles side to counter the moves on the Dallas made.
If you like what you're hearing on the GM Shuffle, there's even more VSiN Pro betting splits, power range, sharp analysis. Offers $99 your first month. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. Check out all the subscription options. Marty, could there be something to the idea that the first-year Eagles offensive coordinator just isn't good at making those adjustments quite yet? Where at the beginning of the game, you have a good script, you're on script, and all of a sudden you make adjustments. It's just not, he's not comfortable enough doing that yet. This to me feels like where Sirianni has to step in and have more say in what the offense is. You're an offensive coach, and that just me goes to inexperience on, we talked about Andy Reid earlier. They made the adjustments. The offense didn't function very well. All of a sudden it did. They found some openings, found some crossers, found some guys down the field. The Eagles just don't do that very well this year. I wonder if that is a factor with the offensive coordinator.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. I think it's up to Sirianni to take over that and make the proper adjustments. I mean, we know who does it. The Chiefs. Andy Reid will do it, right, if things aren't right. So whatever it is, listen, Eagles are a talented team. I still think they're going to figure it out. But that was what I pointed to yesterday.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. They're going to be the 1 or 2 seed. The 1 seed might be that team in Los Angeles. The Rams played really well last night against Tampa Bay. I think not much takeaway other than the Rams just kicked some butt. They look really good. A couple quarterbacks, though, Marty, they're playing pretty poorly. We've discussed very quickly. They'll get to the playoff picture. The next GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome back to the GM Shuffle. We'll recap some more games as the players before heading to some best bets, and we'll take a little preview to Thursday. Remember, this our Thursday show will come out Wednesday this week because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Trevor Lawrence, Marty, I'm out. I'm out, man. It's just not good enough. It should be getting better. We talk about quarterbacks with new offensive coordinators takes about half a season. Look at Caleb Williams ascending, right? Upward, right? Trevor Lawrence, new offensive coordinator, who I think we all agree Liam Cohen knows what he's doing. His track record is what it is. Just continued bad mistakes over again. 3 turnovers yesterday. Jacksonville, by the way, was -4 in turnovers and still won and covered, Marty, on the road. Arizona was one of my favorite bets of the week. Look, good for them for winning the game. But Trevor Lawrence, Marty, I know his contract is what it is, and they probably can't get out of it, but he's not a guy you win because of. Is that because of, right?
You do not win because of. That's the question is, do you win with them? And they have a lot of parts around them, and their defense is good. But what do? You know, the first overall pick, do you continue to stay? What position would you rather be in? Have a Trevor Lawrence where you're probably certain that he's not going to be good enough to win a Super Bowl, right? And that's, to me, whenever you're deciding to draft a quarterback, whenever you decide to trade for a quarterback, the question is, can you win a Super Bowl with him? I think if you ask that question about Trevor Lawrence, I think the answer would be no. Is Bryce Young in the same category? And would you rather be a Jacksonville or a Carolina with a Trevor Lawrence and a Bryce Young, or a team like New Orleans or Cleveland or the Jets that know they need one? And that's my concern about the Raiders is I hope they know they need one. But what position would you rather be in? Because as Jack Bachowski said, there's no orchard in the backyard. You don't go out there and just pick one off trees, right? I mean, they're hard to find. There is more demand than supply for quarterbacks. There's more demand than supply for head coaches. And I think you just have to be careful before you discard somebody to have a plan in place. But I totally agree. Is Trevor Lawrence playing like where he came into the league? No. Is he a win-with guy right now? Probably so, but not a high-tier win-with guy. But what do you do? I mean, do you see the Jaguars making a change with him in the next year or two? I think they say Liam Cohen adds 1 year and let's give him some more time with him.
I just think that your point is very valid. Like if you move on from what's the option, the college quarterbacks we thought this year was going to be great. It's not, right? And Dante Morton might not even come out. You might even get like 2 first-round quarterbacks, right? Because I think more is going to stay more than come out. But Mendoza's coming out, so you don't have not really an option. Plus, he just costs you a lot of money. I think you have to hope that you spend one more offseason with him and you make it work, and then he's probably going to be jettisoned somewhere else. There's not a lot of options because you're not going to get Kyler Murray. It's the same quarterback. Like, who are you going to go get? You're not getting Cousins. You're just not getting any of these older, and Murray's not older, but any of these older guys to fill in for Trevor Lawrence. So he is an issue for them. But look, the South right now with the Colts, we all expected them to come back to earth. They're coming back to earth, Marty. And right now in the South, it's Indianapolis 8-3. Jacksonville 7-4, Houston 6-5. Houston keeps surviving without their quarterback. I mean, look, with Davis Mills goes 3-0, man. Like it's incredible. Then the Colts come to town this weekend. Excuse me, the Texans are at the Colts and the Chiefs. We know a lot more about them, but that's a very tight division now. When I think the Colts, we thought the way they started, we're going to run away with it. I still lean Colts a little bit here, Marty, but can Jacksonville make up that difference? I wouldn't bet on it. I think Houston might be that team with their defense.
I think it's wide open. And listen, Davis Mills, it's funny, you go back in time, but the year before he came out at Stanford, I really liked him. I actually had a high second round grade on him. And then the following year, he didn't play quite as well. His feet aren't the most, he's not the most fleet of foot. So especially in short areas, but his arm, he's a pure passer. He's played well with them. And their defense is listen, the Texans in Cleveland are by far the two best defenses in the league. And I think D'Amico Ryans is a great coach. But look at the schedules, Geoff, okay? So the Colts have the Texans. This is a huge game. At the Jaguars, where they haven't won since 2014. Then they're at the Seahawks. They play the 49ers, the Jaguars, and at Texas. I mean, we're going to find out a lot about the Colts over the next 5, 6, 7 weeks. And it's going to be a tighter race, I think, than most people think. But the Jags are at the Titans. They have the Colts, the Jets, at the Broncos, at the Colts, and the Titans. And then the Texans finish with at Colts, at Chiefs, Cards, Raiders, Colts, and Chargers.
Yeah, the Texans have the better schedule, right? And the Chargers right now, where they're at, a Chiefs game Sunday Night Football, that's going to be another grind, low scoring game. If the Texans win this weekend in Indianapolis, it's going to be, it's on. I think it's on. Where it's not on is in Minnesota. JJ McCarthy is not good. Now, Marty, it's early in his career. It is year 2. A couple numbers here. JJ McCarthy now ranks 851 out of 852 in EPA, expected points added per dropback among qualified passers since 2000, by the way. 851 to 852. The player below him is Jamarcus Russell. When eliminating dropbacks with quick pressures, McCarthy's performance against the Packers this week ranked 344 of 346 this season in EPA per dropback. Look, I think I talked about this Thursday with you, Marty. I just don't like. I think McCarthy works hard. He wants to be good, but the alter ego thing, the rewiring neurological pathways, I get it. I get it, man. You have to have confidence. You have to, get your mind right, but just play better. Just play better. All that stuff like that. To me, as a young player, you have to earn sort of the time to talk about those things, Marty. And maybe this is really old school thinking, but just be better. I don't want to hear that stuff. Just play better. And you're not playing better. So all the things you're talking about, this alter ego and the neurological pathway thing, okay. I'm with you on having to do those things. But I think that's a lot of distraction, Marty. I think it's a lot of deflection. I just want him to play better. Whatever he has to do, he's got to figure it out, because this season is a complete waste for the Vikings. And I agree with them getting rid of Darnold. They had to do that. You drafted McCarthy, but you can't feel good about where you're at right now if you're in Minnesota. I think you really have to explore if you go a different direction this offseason at quarterback.
Well, you have to remember he's a rookie, Geoff, right? Really? He missed all last year because injury, right? And for quarterbacks, I think the EYTBG is about 4 years, right? The estimated years to be good. That was a slam on analytics. It didn't work. Sorry, I tried. It didn't work. EYTBG. I mean, I'm all this estimated stuff.
Isn't 4 years isn't it more like a year and a half now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, when you look at what Green Bay has done with guys like Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, where they really don't get even going until year 3. My point is, I think you got to give. You have to. And JJ McCarthy is playing. Teams play guys. If you're an early first round pick, you're playing way early, right? So He's hurt last year. This is his rookie year. I'm not saying I totally disagree with you. I do think he's a smart player who will get better. I just think you got to give him more time before you basically say he's a bust.
Well, yeah, no, that's fair. He does deserve that opportunity, but I mean, it feels hard because it seems to be getting worse every week. And look in the division, man. We talked about getting better every week. Look, Caleb Williams and the Bears continue to do it. 8-3 now in the North. Packers 7-3. Lions 7-4. The Vikings are not making the playoffs at 4-7. The Bears thing, man. I just pick a division winner right now. Bears, Lions, and then obviously the Packers. Who are you picking in the division?
I still think the Lions are the best team. And again, at the beginning of the year, it would have been Packers as soon as I got off on them, but I still don't think they're in rhythm. I like the Lions. I think they're a well-coached team, a lot of team speed. Jahmyr Gibbs is just one of the he should be a candidate for most valuable player. I mean, he shouldn't get it, but he should be in the conversation. He's just that dynamic. And I think they're a tough physical team. I still like the Lions in that division.
It is probably Lions for me. Quickly, NFC South here. Panthers do play tonight, but the Bucs, man, bad stretch. Lose the Patriots, lose the Bills, get blown up by the Rams. I know Baker got hurt, but that game was not close when he got hurt, Marty.
No.
They're still winning the division, right? I mean, the Panthers they win tonight. They're actually winning the. I don't think they win tonight though, but they'd be half game up still. But are we still taking Tampa to win that division?
Boy, I don't know. Yes, probably so. But you listen to the three teams they lost to. They're three really good teams, right? My concern is Baker Mayfield's health, and can he stay healthy the way he plays, Geoff? He's taken a lot of hits, and really as he goes, the Buccaneers go. So can they win it? Yeah, but I tell you, if the Panthers win tonight, it's you would have to give them the edge.
Yeah, the Bucs. I don't know what happened to their defense, Marty. Are they just getting too old? Is that what it is? Because it seems to deteriorate, and they don't have a number one corner either, which really hurts them, right? They don't have a guy that's like a lockdown corner, which really affects them because they have been giving up a lot of yards. I mean, look, Matt Stafford is the MVP now, minus 200-ish. He played incredible last night, and I think that award is going to go to him finally, right? It's been a long career,
yep.
And he'll sort of put a bow on it here with opportunity to win the MVP, and also an opportunity, I think, to really get back to Super Bowl. Like the Rams team, they said F them picks for many years. They got the picks back, Marty. They've hit slam dunk home runs with all these draft picks. A really good job by them. We'll discuss more division odds and where we stand with the playoff picture coming back on the GM Shuffle presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome back to the GM Shuffle here. We'll get to our best bets for the week in just a few minutes here, and we'll talk about the Thursday games because Marty will have a few best bets for that as well. Remember, guys, we're back on Wednesday, right? Thursday is Thanksgiving. We have the 3 NFL games. Maybe the highest rated game of all time was going to happen to the Cowboys and Chiefs. I wouldn't put it past that to be the case. But before we get to that, Marty, let's talk some more about the playoff picture right now in the AFC specifically. It's really jumbled there. So the 4 division winners as of right now, the Patriots probably win the division. Denver probably win the division. We talked about the South sort of up in the air, but that'll be most likely the 3 seed. And the 4 seed is a battle between the Ravens and the Steelers. The Steelers right now and the Ravens have the same record, 6-5, but Baltimore seems to be going up. Pittsburgh seems to be going down. If you had to choose basically win that division, Baltimore, correct, Marty? Are the Steelers going to be a playoff team? I would say no at the moment. What do you think?
No, I think only one team comes out of that division. And I probably would say the Ravens. I'm still, it's not like the Ravens have beaten any juggernauts here, but they do seem to be getting on the right track. So I think they win that division, but I only see one team coming out of the North in the AFC.
Pittsburgh, by the way, still has Buffalo, 2 games of the Ravens, and a game at the Lions. So, I mean, and that's sandwiched with the Dolphins and a Browns team that's going to be in Cleveland with that defensive line. Maybe Sanders is still playing. The offense is different, I think, with Sanders in there than Gabriel. So we'll see moving forward. That puts the Chargers at 7-4 with the number 1 spot in the wild card right now. The Chargers, to me, Marty, in or out on the Chargers. Like, basically, Chargers or Chiefs. Like, who you taking to win to have a wild card spot?
I would take the Chiefs just because the Chargers are still so banged up.
Yeah.
You know, the Chiefs are now starting to come together, but the Chargers have, I mean, listen, Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, that coaching staff, Jesse Miller, they've done a tremendous job because they have just gotten riddled with injuries on both sides of the ball. I think they're a very well-coached team, good organization, good team. I just think the Chiefs beat them out for the wild card.
The Chargers were off this week, and they're actually off next week because they go to play the Raiders. So they get 2 weeks off, and they play the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, Texans, and Broncos. 5 really tough games there. No easy winnable game unless maybe Denver's resting guys in week 18. I'm with you. I think the Chargers are out. Buffalo 7-4. They lost the Texans. They have problems, buddy.
Yes, they do.
They remind me of the Chiefs the last couple of years on offense, where they just don't have a dude at wide receiver, and with Kincaid out, there's just no one Josh Allen trusts. Their offensive line played poor, like I get it, but no one was open. Their O-line's better than how they showed. Spencer Brown being hurt really doesn't help them at all there. And then look, they can't stop the run. And there's no look. I talk about Kansas City not being able to rush the passer, but at least they stop the run. Like they do something well on defense, right? And the Bills do nothing well on defense right now, and that's just a problem. So you can't stop the run. You don't have good wide receivers. I think they're still a playoff team. Pittsburgh, the Bengals, the Patriots still, the Browns, Eagles, and Jets. I think they're still in, Marty. Are the Bills a playoff team or not? Right now, they sit in the 7th seed at 7-4.
That's a hard one because there's just been an energy thing that just look a little differently here this season, Geoff, especially for the last 4 or 5 games. I'd have to say, yes, they are a playoff team, but you make a great point. I loved running backs. I loved running the ball because I think it sets the tone, right? Offense linemen love running the ball, right? You guys get jacked up. It's a physical edge that you give your team. When you can run the ball, it gives you a mental advantage to me. And so when you can stop the run, it works the other way. And I think that is been a really big issue for the Bills, not being able to stop the run. Is Josh Allen playing consistently like he has in the past? Not yet. He needs to get back to the 6 touchdown performance he did 2 weeks ago. But I still think they're a good team. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. What they do in the playoffs, they're going to have to get hot at the right time. And right now, they are not playing their best football.
They are not. We talked about Pittsburgh in the 8th slot. They're 6-5. They're probably out. Then below Pittsburgh is Houston and Kansas City, who play each other in a couple of weeks. Look, Houston might win the division still.
Yes.
Are they a playoff team if they don't win the division, Marty? I would say no, because they would lose to the Colts. Like I would say they're probably not a playoff team if they don't win the division. What do you think about Houston?
Well, that would be my question is, will there be 2 teams out of the AFC South with the Colts and the Jags and the Texans? Is there 1 or is there 2? I think that it's just 1, and I think the only way the Texans make it, I think, is to win the division. Could they win the division and either Colts or Jags get in the wild card? Maybe, but right now I think only 1 team makes it out of that division right now.
To me, it feels like the Chiefs-Texans game, who are tied with the Texans right now at 6-5, is almost a wildcard elimination game. The Chiefs already don't have a tiebreaker against the Bills and the Chargers. They can't win that game at home, Sunday Night Football. And they're going to have a rest because they play on Thursday. So they're going to have a rest heading into playing Houston. Houston does not play well in Kansas City over the years. That game probably is going to be cold. It's at night, mid-December, early December, I should say. It does feel like a spot the Chiefs grind that win out. It might be gross, 16-13, 16-14. They can be pretty, Marty, but that feels like a playoff elimination game for both those teams. The Chiefs, their schedule is set up pretty well, Marty, I think, for them to make the postseason, right? You have a Cowboys team who's off a big win, but a team that's very beatable. Still have the Titans to play. Still have the Chargers to play at home. It feels like, and you end with Oakland, Vegas, I should say. They're going to get the 10 wins. So we'll see if they do that. Very quickly, on the NFC side, Marty, before we get to our best bets here, it does feel like Rams, Eagles, Seahawks, Packers, Niners, Lions, those 6 are probably in. And then there's sort of like who wins the North and the South kind of determine the last teams, Bears, Bucks, Panthers, feels like that group of teams is probably what we're picking from, correct?
Yes, correct. And it really doesn't it feel kind of like Rams Eagles? What would be your third team after the Rams and Eagles to be in the conference championship game if one of those two?
The Lions. Yeah. But the Lions would have to do it basically through outdoors, which I don't really like. I guess they go to LA. Right. It's inside.
Right.
Rams, Eagles. I mean, Seahawks interesting, but Darnold, I just don't. So the pumpkin factor, right? It would be the Lions to me. Right. The one sneaky team is the Cowboys. I mean, they win this week. They're 6-5. They're sort of periphery, sort of hanging out there. They still got the Lions to play. I mean, they got winnable games, man. They got the Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, Giants to end the season. There are 4 very winnable games for them. They're the one wild card team of I think either conference. I think is like, oh, the Cowboys are 9-6-1. Oh, look, it's possible, Marty.
Very possible, because they're playing extremely well, and their defense really is playing a lot different since Quentin Williams came, and I think Brent Schottenheimer's done a really good job with them. I really do. I mean, it's not easy being a head coach in Dallas with all the distractions, and then they had that tragic death 2 weeks ago with Marshawn Nealon, and I think he has done a very good job of navigating that team through a lot of hard times, and I think they're starting to get confidence in them. And when you can score points in this league like they can, you have a chance to win every game you play. I kind of like them a little bit to make the playoffs. And if they do make the playoffs, I certainly won't want to play them.
Yeah, look, we've talked about this before. Like when Dak is healthy, man, this offense is always rolling. It's always been good. Cowboys, by the way, to make the playoffs on DraftKings right now, plus 650 for the yes. So if you like that, that's an option for you there. Speaking about DraftKings, we're going to get to our best bets now, presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Thursday football, not night football. 3 games on Thanksgiving. Packers, Lions. The Lions are favored right now by 2.5, total 48.5. The Chiefs, Cowboys favored by 3.5. Cowboys are underdog by 3.5, total 51.5. That was 4.5 last week, came down a point. And the nightcap, Bengals at the Ravens. Ravens favored by 7, total of 51.5. So 3 pretty high totals here, Marty. What are some of your favorite wagers so far for these games?
Well, I like Detroit and Dallas this week. They're 2 of my better bets. And listen, I'll probably bam out the Packers to the Super Bowl. Okay, but I just think that Detroit at home, speed. I both sides of the ball. I don't see how you stop Jahmyr Gibbs. The only chance the Packers have is to keep getting Jared Goff off the spot and getting pressure. Inside pressure and trying to make him move. But I just don't think that the Packers going to keep up with Detroit Thursday. And I like the way they're playing. They did what they had to do yesterday to win a game. They went in overtime and they know how to win. They're solid on both sides of the ball, and I just like them to beat the Packers. And then I like the Cowboys getting plus 3.5. And I really like the Chiefs, but I just think that the Cowboys are arrows up. That's going to be a great game. I am very excited to watch a Cowboys-Chiefs game. I think that's going to be a really exciting game to watch.
There's obviously a correlation between winning and running the football well. You tend to get more opportunities to do so. But for the Lions, look, against Kansas City, Gibbs at 65 yards, they lost. He had 136 against Tampa Bay. They won. He had 25 against Minnesota. They lost. He had 142 against Commanders. They win. He had 39 against the Philly. They lost. He had 216, 219 yesterday. They won. So the Packers will have to make sure his total right now on DraftKings for the game, the props are up for Thanksgiving game, 67.5. So if you think that if you think the Lions are going to win, Marty, it feels like a wager that you want to make, right? Where Gibbs is having to be a part of that team. Look, for the Chiefs, I think Mahomes over passing yards. I think it's what they have to do against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to score points in this game. So Mahomes, especially, look, there are opportunities to make down the field. He's sort of turning down, Marty. Like there are clear opportunities where if he just decides to trust his guys a little bit more, he's going to throw for 300 yards. Like it's there for him. I like them on a short week. I like their staff on a short week. They have, again, this is the Chiefs. They know how to win. It's inside. The weather's good. I like their matchup against the Cowboys secondary. So I think Mahomes over passing yards will be something to explore here. 266.5 right now, just slightly below his season total. I think Chiefs have to keep up with the Cowboys here. All right, guys, we've reached the end. Please rate, review, subscribe if you're listening right now. Again, we are back on Wednesday. We'll talk these games through again. We'll hit the slate for the rest of the weekend. It'll be a great weekend of NFL football. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoyed the show.